What's going on, YouTube? Uberman here. So I got an email yesterday morning, and I'm going to read it to you real quick, and it's titled New Deactivation Policy. 6 years ago when Uber first started, it was easy to work with a handful of drivers who use the app. Today, with 450,000 drivers using the app each month, that's gotten a lot harder. And it's clear from your feedback that we don't always do a good job working with you. For example, there hasn't been a standard, transparent policy explaining when and how we deactivate drivers. At our size, that's not good enough. So we just published a new, easy-to-read policy that sets out when and why your account can be deactivated, and also what you can do to get on the road again. Please take a few moments to review this important information, which is a clickable link right here. We've also just kicked off a pilot in Seattle where highly rated drivers hear the appeals of other drivers. If successful, we'll look at rolling this out across the U.S. Your feedback is essential to improving Uber, and we're always looking for ways to include it into our products and policies. Thanks for everything you do to keep our cities moving. Now we'll go ahead and get out of this, and we'll go to that link. This is what pulls up when you click the link in the email. This might be a little bit of a lengthy video, guys. I'm going to do my best to get through it for you. This is for the U.S. only, and this is the first time we have ever seen an actual written deactivation policy from Uber. And it's not a coincidence that this has come out right after Uber has come to an agreement with the driver's lawyer for Massachusetts and California. There is no doubt that these two go hand in hand with one another. Do bear in mind, though, that the settlement has not been signed by a judge yet. So this is not official yet, but it looks like this deactivation policy is. So let's jump into it. Our goal at Uber is transportation as reliable as running water everywhere for everyone. We do that today by connecting passengers who need a ride with drivers wanting to provide one. It's about getting a ride and work at the push of a button. This is only possible when riders trust drivers and vice versa. That's why Uber has a code of conduct that sets out the behavior expected from both sides. Riders or drivers who break this code may be barred from using Uber, either temporarily or permanently, depending on the seriousness of the breach. When a driver is deactivated, even if only temporarily, it limits their ability to earn income. So it's important to have a clear published policy that explains the circumstances in which drivers are denied access to Uber, how, if at all, they can use the app again, and if drivers can appeal these decisions. There will always be unforeseen events that may ultimately lead to deactivation, and we'll update this policy regularly, but the following are sufficient cause for deactivation: quality, fraud, safety, and discrimination. Starting with quality, riders who use Uber expect their drivers to drive safely, as well as be courteous and professional. The higher the quality of service, the more riders want to take trips, which in turn means more opportunities for drivers to earn money. Poor service has the opposite effect over time. There are several ways we measure driver quality, with the most important being star ratings and cancellation rate. Star ratings. After each trip, drivers and riders each rate the other on a 5-star scale and give feedback on how the trip went. This two-way system holds everyone accountable for their own behavior. Accountability helps create a respectful, safe environment for riders and drivers. Drivers can see their current rating in the Ratings tab of the Uber Partner app. How is my rating as a driver calculated? Your rating is based on an average of the number of post-trip stars riders gave you from 1 to 5 stars up to your last 500 rated trips, or the total number of trips you've taken if less than 500. The easiest way to keep your average rating high is to provide good service on every trip. Drivers on the Uber platform provide excellent service, so most trips run smoothly. But we know that sometimes a trip doesn't go well. That's why we only look at your average rating over your most recent 500 trips or your total trip count if under 500. This gives you the chance to improve over time. What leads to deactivation? There is a minimum average rating in each city. This is because there are cultural differences in the way people in different cities rate each other. We will alert you over time if your rating is approaching this limit, and you'll also get information about quality improvement courses that may help you improve. If your average rating still falls below the minimum after multiple notifications, you will be deactivated. You may be reactivated on the platform after you provide proof of the steps you've taken to improve, for example, by taking one of these quality improvement courses. And as I've said in previous videos, I highly recommend R3Z Solutions for this particular driver training or retraining course to be reactivated, or just to keep you from being deactivated on the Uber platform. Moving on, cancellation rate. A driver cancellation is when a driver accepts a trip request and then cancels the trip. Cancellations create a poor rider experience and negatively affect other drivers. We understand that there may be times when something comes up that causes a driver to cancel and accept a trip, but minimizing cancellations is critical for the reliability of the system. How is my cancellation rate calculated? Your cancellation rate is based on the number of trips canceled out of the total number of trips you accept. For example, if you've accepted 100 trips and 4 of them are canceled, your cancellation rate would be 4%. High-quality drivers typically have low cancellation rate, less than 5%. What leads to deactivation? Every city has a maximum cancellation rate based on the average cancellation rate of drivers in that area. We will alert you multiple times if your cancellation rate is much higher than other drivers in your city, after which you may not be able to go online for a short period of time. If your cancellation rate continues to exceed the maximum limit, you may be deactivated. On acceptance rates. High acceptance rates are a critical part of reliable, high-quality service, but not accepting trip requests does not lead to permanent deactivation. Consistently accepting trip requests help maximize earnings for drivers and keeps the system running smoothly. We know that sometimes things can come up that prevent you from accepting every trip request, but not accepting dispatches causes delays and degrades the reliability of the system. If you're consistently not accepting trip requests, we will notify you that your ability to remain online may be at risk. If your acceptance rate does not improve, you may temporarily be logged out of the app for a limited period of time. Fraud. Fraudulent activity undermines the trust on which Uber is built. That's why we're constantly on the lookout for fraud by drivers and riders who are gaming our system. What leads to deactivation? We will deactivate any account or accounts, including permanently, associated with fraudulent activity, which may include deliberately increasing the time or distance of a trip, accepting trips without the intention to complete, including provoking riders to cancel, creating dummy rider or driver accounts for fraudulent purposes, claiming fraudulent fees or charges like false cleaning fees, and intentionally accepting or completing fraudulent or falsified trips. Safety. Uber uses technology to keep riders and drivers safe, for instance, by GPS tracking every ride and allowing riders to share their journeys in real time with families or friends. This is all backed up by a robust system of pre-screenings of drivers. We also have a dedicated incident response team on call 24/7 to investigate safety incidents. Actions that threaten the safety of riders and drivers may be investigated and, if confirmed, will lead to permanent deactivation. As a precaution, after receiving a complaint, we may temporarily suspend a driver until the issue is resolved. Issues that can lead to driver deactivation include Uber's Code of Conduct. All users of the Uber platform, both riders and drivers, agree to abide by our code of conduct while using the app. This code creates a shared standard of respect, accountability, and common courtesy for everyone in the vehicle. What leads to deactivation? Uber may deactivate any driver who violates the code of conduct with, for example, violent or inappropriate behavior, abusive language, or having illegal substances in the vehicle. Zero tolerance for drugs and alcohol. Uber does not tolerate the use of drugs or alcohol by drivers while using the platform. What leads to deactivation? Any driver found to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol while using the Uber platform will be permanently deactivated. Uber may also deactivate a driver who receives several unconfirmed complaints of drug or alcohol use. Compliance with the law. We expect drivers using the Uber app to act in compliance with all relevant state, federal, and local laws and the rules of the road at all times. This includes meeting the regulatory requirements for rideshare or for hire drivers in your area. What leads to deactivation? Uber may permanently deactivate a driver for activities such as engaging in serious illegal activity while using the Uber app, not maintaining valid vehicle registration or driver's license, and receiving serious traffic citations or several traffic citations that indicate unsafe driving while using the Uber app. Safe driving. Riders expect drivers using the Uber app to drive safely at all times. What leads to deactivation? Uber will deactivate a driver who receives several or serious complaints of poor, unsafe, or distracted driving while using the Uber app. Firearms ban. Our goal is to ensure that everyone has a safe and reliable ride. That's why Uber prohibits riders and drivers from carrying firearms of any kind in a vehicle while using our app. Anyone who violates this policy may lose access to Uber. Accurate personal information. The Uber app is designed to give riders identifying information about drivers and their vehicles, like their name, profile picture, vehicle model, and license plate number before the trip begins. Inaccurate or outdated information creates confusion among riders and can diminish their experience with Uber. What leads to deactivation? We will deactivate a driver for activities such as providing Uber with inaccurate information, allowing someone else to use his or her account, and taking a trip using an unapproved vehicle. In addition, we will take action to prevent any driver whose required documentation becomes invalid, like a driver's license that expires, from going online until the driver provides Uber with an updated information. Background checks. All drivers wanting to use the Uber app are required to undergo a screening process, like motor vehicle record and background checks, to ensure safety and compliance with our criteria. What leads to deactivation? We will permanently deactivate a driver if a routine motor vehicle record or background check uncovers a violation of Uber safety standards or of other criteria required by local regulations. See here for more details. Unacceptable activities. To maintain the transparency and safety of the Uber platform for all users, activities conducted outside of the monitored system of the Uber app, like anonymous pickups, are prohibited. What leads to deactivation? We will take action against a driver for activities such as accepting illegal street hails while using the Uber app, harming the business or brand, like unauthorized use of Uber's trademark or intellectual property, or otherwise violating the driver's agreement with Uber, and soliciting payment of fares outside the Uber system. Discrimination. Uber's mission is to connect riders to transportation as reliable as running water. Everywhere for everyone. We do not tolerate discrimination on our platform. What leads to deactivation? It is unacceptable to refuse to provide services based on characteristics like a person's race, religion, national origin, disability, sexual orientation, sex, marital status, gender identity, age, or any other characteristic protected under relevant federal or state law. Actions like these will result in permanent deactivation. We want to help increase the transportation options for riders with disabilities. That's why we have information available for drivers on this topic. We expect drivers using the Uber app to comply with all relevant state, federal, and local laws governing the transportation of riders with disabilities, including transporting service animals. Getting back on the road after deactivation. If you've been deactivated for quality reasons like low star ratings, you may have the opportunity to get back on the road if you provide proof that you've taken steps to improve. This could include successfully taking a quality improvement course available in most U.S. cities today. Check with your local Uber team or help.uber.com to find out more. We're also exploring the option of an equivalent online course so that this is available to drivers everywhere in the United States at a low cost. In addition, we're exploring ways to create an appeals process for the most contentious cases. For the most contentious cases. Run out of breath here. We will update this document as and when we have that process in place. Last updated April 21st, 2016. It is now April 26th. This policy does not apply to drivers using the Uber app for Uber Rush and Uber Eats. So, guys, I got a little carried away there. May have lost my place a couple times. I apologize for that. But anyway, there you have it. The link will be in the description so you can go through this on your own. I hope this was of some assistance to you. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Be safe out there, and Uber on.